Good day. My name is Mike McCarthy, and I am today's moderator for the webinar. I want to begin by thanking you for joining us today. I realize how important your time is. I also want to take this time to thank the funders who made the pilot possible, our partners who we'll hear from today, the 60 Minutes staff for telling our story, and most of all for our participants, the 100 people that allowed us to conduct an experiment that would change their lives. The response we got from the 60 Minutes piece was, in a word, unbelievable. We had thousands of people reach out to us. We received lots of interest from fellow workforce development professionals, elected leaders, businesses, funders, and businesses seeking more. The response from those who were unemployed was equally impressive. People called, emailed, even faxed us their stories and their resumes. We are in a few days away from announcing a special webinar for the unemployed to give them some hope. Hope is a big word we use around the office. It is a word that our boss, Joe Carbone, uses in every conversation, and it is a word that he truly believes in when it comes to our work. It is my hope for you that you will learn from the presentation, be motivated, and be inspired to lead others. Now just a few housekeeping items. We will be recording this webinar, and if we do experience any technology problems, which has happened, know that a copy of this presentation is available at our website, bluegreenresearch.org. We will also have questions and answers, which we will use the chat feature on the widget, the GoToMeeting webinar widget. We will do, like I indicated, a separate webinar for unemployed individuals in the coming weeks. Now I want to go through and introduce our presenters. Joe Carbone, the workplace, will speak, followed by Adrian Parkman, also our vice president at the workplace, Chris Casilius, CEO of Career Team, Dr. Nancy Legao, Behavioral Health Consultants, and Bob Nyman, Robert Traub, and Lee Barnes of the Harvard Business School Club of Connecticut will also speak. And again, my name is Mike McCarthy, and I'm the moderator for today. The intention of this webinar is to provide an overview of the P2E model, understand the rationale, what drove us to do this. We're going to be describing key attributes that make it unique, and there are several components that I think we saw on 60 Minutes, and there's other things that you will hear about in this coming webinar. We're also looking to build partnerships with like-minded organizations from around the country because we believe that this model is a replicable and can be used in part or parcel of in other communities and towns and cities. Let me step back and talk a little bit about the workplace. The workplace is the Regional Workforce Investment Board, and that surprised several groups. If you've ever had to explain what a WIB is to people, it's often hard to get out that we are the conduit for federal and state funds to flow for workforce development. We are a WIB, one of several in Connecticut, and our geographical area is southwestern Connecticut. We serve approximately 35,000 people and 400 businesses in our 20-town region. And we're sort of the community, a suburb in the lower part of Connecticut to New York City. I often joke that we are sort of the GE of workforce development because we have over 30 different lines of businesses dealing with grant and non-grant funded programs. This is just a sampling that you can see, Pathways Out of Poverty, a federal U.S. Department of Labor grant, Youth Bill, the U.S. Department of Labor grant, Wired, a U.S. Department of Labor grant. Several grants from a variety of funding, not just Department of Labor, but also the Department of Environmental Protection. We also have state funding as well as private corporate funding, which we'll be talking about in greater detail on this webinar. What I do is run our Blue Green Research Institute, and that is basically a fee-for-service model where we work nationally with organizations to help them with workforce and economic development planning, and focused on grant writing as well as research papers and fundraising ability. So one of the things that's important to know is that we will be using this vehicle for the replication of the P2E throughout the country. Clients of ours include small startup businesses, community colleges, local boards of education, industry association, other WIBs from around the country, other workforce and economic development entities, could be the one-stop or system providers within the one-stop system, nonprofit and governmental agencies. And it's never the same day twice. especially when it comes to providing services and products which are very range from, again, grant writing to a very specific business intelligence report. We also have a white paper activity that we're doing a lot of white papers for very unique and interesting topics, and those will be published on our website. You can see those in the coming days. Also, strategic planning is another vital part of what we're doing here to help build the capacity of organizations, locally and nationally. Now I'm going to give great pleasure to introduce my boss and hero, Joe Carbone. And let me tell you something about Joe. He's very passionate about this. What people saw in 60 Minutes was Joe dialed back to about a 6 out of a 10, if you can imagine. In person, Joe is someone who is zealous about fighting injustices, and it can be about veterans, youth, mature workers, people with disabilities, or in this case, the 99ers. Joe cares and is driven to serve, and Joe's passion is built into the culture of our organization and reflected in our work. He isn't just our boss, he's an innovator who wants to work with organizations around the country to create a system that serves everyone better. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Joe Carbone.